We have new details on what killed a family while they were hiking in the Sierra National.
14-year-old Alycia Mesiti's life was tragically cut short in August 2006 when she was killed by her own father, Mark Mesiti. This senseless murder occurred on the heels of Alycia and her brother being placed in Mark's custody, despite clear warning signs that the children were not safe with him. Alycia Mesiti lived with her mother, Roberta Allen, and younger brother in San Jose, California. By all accounts, Roberta loved her children dearly. However, she grappled with severe depression, and the stresses of raising two young children independently proved too demanding for the overwhelmed mother. Her despair and emotional struggles impacted her ability to properly care for Alycia and her brother. In 2005, acting on reports from the children's school, Santa Clara County Child Protective Services stepped in and removed Alycia and her sibling from Roberta's care. The dependency court judge referred the case to family court to determine a custody arrangement. Shockingly, despite Roberta clearly wanting to restore wellness and regain custody, the court granted sole physical and legal custody to the children's father, Mark Mesiti. This fateful decision ignored copious red flags. Mark Mesiti had an extensive criminal history spanning nearly a decade prior that the court seemed to astonishingly disregard. Mesiti's record included multiple DUI charges, a domestic violence incident, bank fraud convictions, and even a 90-day jail sentence for failing to attend court-ordered drug and alcohol counseling programs. With all this, social workers, mental health professionals, and even Alycia's own lawyer recommended against granting Mark custody. Tragically, the family court judge ignored the flashing warning signs and placed two vulnerable, innocent children into the care of a dangerous predator. For a while, from the outside, things appeared fine. But just over a year into the arrangement, severe cracks formed that ultimately led to unimaginable tragedy. In the summer of 2006, Mark Mesiti resided in Ceres, California with 14-year-old Alycia and her younger brother. Mark had relocated from San Jose to the modest rental home after securing custody. Shortly after, Alycia went missing from Mark's home. Her lifeless body wouldn't be found for another 3 years. Mark lived in Ceres, California with Alycia and her brother. On August 14, 2006, Mark's girlfriend, Shelley, was traveling from LA to visit him. Shelley planned to pick Alycia up from a relative's house on the way, but Mark insisted she come directly to his home without Alycia. When Shelley asked where she was, Mark claimed Alycia had run away. Shelley reported her missing to the Ceres police as a runaway. Initially, police saw no signs of foul play and believed Mark's story. Mark was evicted from his home in December 2006 and moved to LA with Shelley. Meanwhile, Alycia remained missing. In March 2009, following the discovery of children's clothing and a suspicious dirt mound, Ceres police obtained a new warrant to search Mark Mesiti's former property. This time, cadaver dogs indicated human decomposition in the soil. Forensic investigators carefully excavated the yard of the seemingly unremarkable suburban rental home. Buried almost 3 feet down lay a plastic bag, emitting a foul odor. Encased inside, the small, disintegrating skeleton of a young adolescent girl. Using dental records, forensic pathologists positively identified the remains as 14-year-old Alycia Mesiti. Ceres PD immediately issued an arrest warrant for Mark Mesiti and his girlfriend Shelley Walker. However, questions still lingered over exactly what fate befell Alycia at the hands of her monster father. Further autopsy findings uncovered that in her final days, Alycia Mesiti suffered egregiously. The coroner detailed that Alycia endured repeated episodes of sexual abuse prior to her murder. Her thin frame evidenced signs of chronic drug use and related health issues much more similar to that of a longtime adult addict than a 14-year-old child. The lethal cocktail of narcotics found in her system included methadone, opiates, benzodiazepines, amphetamines, and morphine at concentrations no accident or suicide. Investigators came to the grim conclusion that Mark Mesiti intentionally and forcibly intoxicated Alycia in order to rape his own daughter. On approximately August 13, 2006, the demented father gave Alycia what proved to be her final, forcibly administered dose of drugs. Only this time, rather than pass out and later awaken to continue enduring unimaginable abuse, she died of an overdose. Her body then callously discarded by Mark Mesiti before setting about his new life in Los Angeles with Shelley Walker. Once in Los Angeles, Mark Mesiti leased an apartment and took odd carpentry jobs while establishing himself in the local drug trade. On the periphery, Mesiti perhaps appeared as an ordinary blue-collar single dad, but behind closed doors lurked a narcissistic psychopathy waiting to be unleashed on more vulnerable victims. In March 2009, at the very same time Ceres PD unearthed Alycia's remains some 200 miles north, Los Angeles Police Department and Drug Enforcement Administration agents secured a warrant and raided Mark Mesiti's apartment. It took little time for them to discover an active toxic meth lab on the premises. Equally disturbing, the industrial-grade operation existed dangerously mere feet from where children slept and played. Among the drug manufacturing paraphernalia stashed in kitchen cabinets, investigators uncovered appalling home video footage of Mark Mesiti sexually assaulting a 16-year-old girl. Photographs seized depicted Mesiti engaged in acts of rape and molestation with the teenage victim and even an 8-year-old child. His apprehension resulted not only in drug charges, but new child endangerment, pornography, and rape allegations as well. However, the death that precipitated this takedown, Alycia Mesiti, still demanded legal justice. While incarcerated on the drug offenses, Mark Mesiti found himself transferred to face murder proceedings in Stanislaus County for Alycia Mesiti's death. In 2015, with the case approaching the 10-year anniversary since her disappearance, the DA obtained grand jury indictments on Mark Mesiti and Shelley Walker for multiple felony counts, including first-degree murder and sexual abuse of a minor. Numerous hearings and delays, however, postponed Mesiti's day of reckoning until late 2017. The harrowing evidence and facts were set to unfold before a jury in a criminal trial anticipated to span months. Then, rather unexpectedly, after only 2 weeks of proceedings, Mark Mesiti attempted to avoid his looming fate by pleading guilty to his ghastly crimes. In exchange, prosecutors took the death penalty off the table. On October 17, 2017, Mark Mesiti, at long last, confessed in a Stanislaus County courtroom with Alycia's surviving relatives present. Mesiti admitted he purposefully intoxicated Alycia in order to systematically rape and molest his daughter, eventually administering a final lethal dose, resulting in her death at age 14. Mark Mesiti ultimately received a sentence of life in prison without parole for Alycia's murder. But many questions and deep wounds persist years later. Most troubling, how did a flawed system enable a dangerous predator access to vulnerable children under its duty to protect? And could officials have prevented Alycia and her brother from being placed right in harm's way? While her tragic murder awakened changes in family custody protocol, her young life remains inexplicably lost. Another victim failed by the very systems responsible to safeguard our children from monsters hiding in plain sight. Her memory lives on through the Alycia Mesiti Foundation, which provides resources and support to at-risk youth, sheltered from domestic violence situations. While her shortened life left behind more pain than most experience in a lifetime, her enduring story continues working to spread light where once there was only darkness.